Hey, welcome to my podcast. I'm Manina, and you are listening to an episode of Aspire Big, Inspire Bigger podcast. Alright guys, I want to introduce to you my friend Shawona. We are going to talk about pain and trauma today, and it's a prevalent discussion to talk about in so many ways, but I just wanted Shawona to share her story with us a bit, just her relationship with pain and trauma as a woman of color, as a black woman here, and just as a person. Hey Shawona.
Hey girl.
Hey. A little backstory on me and Shawona's relationship, girl.
Girl.
You know what happens when you meet a boy. And, yes, you meet a boy, and then you get to meet his family. And then you and the boy don't work out, but you get the family in the breakup,
I'm
so
the
family. Yes. So welcome to my podcast. I am so excited that you are.
Thank you.
A lot of years that we known each other, so this is awesome. And you've heard me talk about wanting to do this for a long time, and you encouraged me. So I thank you to be one of the first people who joined me on my podcast.
I'm excited to do. I just want to say that I'm super proud of you for following through. Something that you've been wanting to do for a long time. Took a little bit of cooking, but now we're here, so I'm excited. What's going on? Let's go.
Yes. All right, so we're going to talk about pain and trauma. So for me, I started this Aspire Big, Inspire Bigger out of a story of pain and trauma in a way. I have my story posted up on my YouTube channel, so you can go back and listen to the whole story, but I'm going to just sum it up. I was a child who lost a mother at 12 from cancer, and I watched her fight and lose that fight over a span of 4 years. So that was traumatic. That made me have an outlook on life, and in a way that was tough. I just seen things as unfair. But it also thickened my skin and helped me have an understanding of, though things don't go the way you may want them, you can still survive and you can still thrive.
Yes.
I went on to grow up, work hard. I'm a workaholic. So
tell the truth now. Tell the truth.
Hello. Because I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to make me $1 or $2. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go to work. It was just something that was ingrained in me by my father, who raised me from that point on. I was raised by both my mother and my father. Even after my mother passed away, I was with my father. So that was ingrained in me. My father went to work from 5 a.m. until midnight. And got back up and went and did it again the next day. And sometimes he would do that 7 days a week. So that was ingrained in me. That was important. That's survival. And that's how you take care of not only yourself but your family and what's to come for your family. There's a lot of work my father put in his life. A lot of cracked bones. Your joints get tired and everything. He had a lot of that, but he did it for his family and whatever we needed in the future as well. I was put through private school all my life. So things like that. So you sacrifice, you work hard. Those are the things that I learned. And even through the pain and the trauma, I learned that those will help you get through and overcome to the other side.
Right.
When all else fails, you got to work hard,
Right.
And things will pan out in the end. But as I grew, I still had that relationship with things not feeling fair. And that entangled into how I saw life. So I kind of saw like, if something good happens, it ain't going to last long. And that's how I felt about life. If something good happens, that's great, but it ain't going to last long. So, with relationships, when you break up, you're like, you see, I knew that was going to happen. With friendship, you don't look at it and say, this is going to last forever. You see, I knew that was going to happen. I knew they was going to play me or try to play me or whatever it is. So that led into just a way of thinking. I could depend on myself, and that was my relationship with pain. I knew it was going to happen. I knew people would inflict that on me. But as long as I could depend on myself, I'd be fine with that. And then I had a situation where I became pregnant. And I couldn't depend on the father, but my relationship with trauma and pain told me I could depend on myself. But at 5 months, my body failed me. And that was the ultimate trauma for me. I was like, wait, I thought, I thought I could depend on myself to pull through on this and have my children. And my body failed me, and I went into labor way too early, and they didn't make it. So my relationship with pain and trauma then changed again. And so I decided to look within and say, you can't look at life this way. You won't survive emotionally and mentally. So I decided to look within and learn how to heal. How do I heal, and how do I take life for what it is, but also don't look at it as a suffering thing? And it took me years since from that time until now has been 10 years. But Aspire Big, Inspire Bigger was a healing process. How do I serve so that I can heal? How do I aspire for something better and not have that doubt? So my thought process was, I'm going to do the best that I can, learn the most that I can, and one day my story, the path that I took, is going to mean something to another woman or another person in this world who comes across my story and my path. And it's going to be a piece of what helps them heal. And if I could do that, I'll be content with life. And in this Aspire Big, Inspire Bigger, I have so much healing and such a better outlook on life. That's what makes me share, and that's what makes me want to have podcasts and want to talk to other women and want to see where they are on their path and, learn from them. And if I can, give to them, I want to give to them. So what's your story with pain and trauma? What is your story of pain and trauma and overcoming? And if you're in the middle of that, that's okay, too.
I said, baby girl. I can identify with pain and trauma. I think every woman, no matter the color, pain is pain. I cut myself the other day. I got a paper cut, and it hurt so bad, like if it was a big gash. And I was like, oh, it's killing me. So that's when I recognized that, pain is pain. No matter how small the wound is, it's still painful. I had a lot of different situations in my life where I went through pain and trauma, but my most recent one was in my marriage. I got married at 21, and he was young as well. He was 22, and we've been married doing this thing called life for a long time, which having children, he being the only one working, and we just went through some stuff. So he had to get another job in another state, and I stayed in one state, and I thought everything was going to be okay, and then it turned out not to be so okay. And so I was left to pick up the pieces by myself and didn't recognize how painful that was going to be, because my grandmother, she's a single parent. My mom was a single parent, and not that he wasn't there for me and the children, but I was just left alone to take care of everything. And when it was painful, I went through so much. I suffered with anxiety, depression. I got diagnosed with anxiety, and they wanted me to take medicine. I was going to come home and take the medicine and do what the doctor said, because I was having heart palpitations. I had no idea how my children made it to school every day, because I would go to bed like 5 a.m. and have to wake up at 6:15. But I just pressed through, because that's all I knew from any woman growing up. My old pastor, she used to say, she don't like no sissy women. So I knew I couldn't be, even during the pain, I knew I still had to be strong somewhat. I was watching Oprah. She had like a series on Mind Over Matter for Women, and this particular night they talking about anxiety. I'm like, oh no, I'm going to turn this off. But I said, let me watch it, and I watched it, and one lady, she just said something so simple, and it changed my life. I didn't even have to take one pill after watching it. She says, you have to change your focus. That one thing that you're waking up thinking about, that one thing that you're going to bed thinking about, change your focus. Sounds pretty easy, right? But it's like, I can't change my focus. What are you talking about? This is hurting me. I'm in pain. But I really worked hard on changing my focus. Not that I didn't care about the situation anymore. I just couldn't give it any more power to take over me anymore. So I had to change my focus. I had to surround myself with people who believed in a higher power, because I was in pain, and I thought everybody, because I'm the strong one, I'm always there for everybody else. I thought everybody was going to send a helicopter here for me because Shawona is in pain. I recognized that my friends, my family that believed in a higher power, they knew knew that this situation was too much for them. They knew only God can do a thing like this. And so I had to go through it alone. I had to recognize who was going to bring me out, and it hurt like hell, but I made it through. And overall, I just wanted to say that anybody that's going through a situation, whether it be being molested, going through divorce, abuse, anything, that you really could make it. You just have to change your focus and figure out what works for you, whether it be counseling, whether it be church, whatever it is that you feel like this is something I need to do. And definitely surround yourself with people who believe in a higher power, because it really worked. You know, my friends, they could have called and we could have had a day where we can tell some things and blah, 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 and cursed and did all that. But they took a different approach. They did what every friend should do when they don't know what to do, is be quiet. When you don't know what to say, shut up.
Yes. And I identify with that thought process, because when I was going through my loss, when I was going through the most stinging, because the pain of a loss, or the pain of a loss could be any kind of loss, and the sting is no joke. When you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh no.
Oh no!
I am up again. What is going on?
No.
My stomach hurt. My head hurt. My eyes is burning. Yes, and it's a nightmare. This is not a dream. This is real.
Right.
So people would say things like, "Well, it's all right. You're young. You'll have babies again." Excuse me. First of all, love you, but I will beat you up. Sometimes you just don't realize that what you're saying is just helping to break that person down. So you have to be quiet.
Yes, listen, my grandmother said these words, "Shawana, you will land on your feet." I said, "Are you crazy? I'm in pain. What are you talking about, woman? I'm not going to land on my feet." And she couldn't been more right. Like, I landed on my feet. I'm okay. I survived. I'm moving forward, overcoming the pain and the trauma. My husband, we're more close now. We're more friends now, trying to get closer and trying to raise the kids and doing what we're supposed to do for the kids. And it's just been a roller coaster, but we all had to go through it. There's a scripture that says, "It was good that I was afflicted." Oh, I didn't want to hear that. What you mean it was good that I was afflicted? What you mean?
Girl.
But it really was, because it taught me how to get up again. That it's okay for you to go through some situations, but when you get up and you rise and you land on your feet, you're gonna be on fire. And I mean, I never been so good with Shawona. Never. I never was able to look in the mirror and say, okay, I always know I was cute now. I'm cute now.
Damn,
I'm
okay.
cute.
Damn. Like it like that.
But,
okay.
But just to look at yourself and say, listen, you've been through a lot and you pushed through it. It's just you and God. It's so liberating, and I'm excited. So, just keep pushing, everyone. Just keep pushing. It's not going to last forever. It feels like forever, but it's really not going to last forever. You're going to go through the process, because there is process to pain and trauma, and everybody has to go through it. We have to go through it, like Monina said, for our other sisters and brothers, because we have to be a testimony to them as well. But you're going to be okay. You're going to be fine. Find you the circle of friends, the circle of family, and you will be fine.
Right. So that brings up a thought for me. I want to go back to when you mentioned single motherhood, how it linked to your anxiety as well, because we do talk about those cycles in our community. We talk about those cycles and we talk about breaking them, right? We need to break the cycle of whatever is in our lineage. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't keep passing down those cycles, but when it happens, we have to put action to that statement. So how did you put action to breaking that cycle?
Growing up, like I said, with my mom and my grandmother being single parents, and then I was a single parent. My daughter, she was 2 when I met my husband, so I was single parent until then. I was trying to think, should I tell the story? But me and my mom and my brothers and sisters, we lived in a building in apartment 45, and my dad lived in 43 first, and then he moved to apartment 44. You won't believe I saw him through passing. Like, hey, what's up? How you doing? And kept it moving. That was the most hurtful thing as a kid, to see your dad through passing, whether if he be by himself or with another woman or whoever. Oh, hey, just like I was a regular kid. So I never wanted my children to deal with that pain ever. When after I got pregnant at 17 and had to pretty much raise my daughter on my own, I prayed for a man that would be a stand-up guy for my children, for my daughter at the time. I prayed that I get a stand-up guy and that his family would love my daughter like she was their own. And that's exactly what I got. His family love her. Ain't no difference and nothing. Her last name, that's the only thing that's different is the last name, you know, but it really was a hard process to not wanting to do that. So I think a part of my anxiety when issues were going on between me and my husband and we're living in separate places, I think that was the anxiety of, oh my God, I'm going to be a single mom again. And that's what started the anxiety. I'm not one of those women who say, you know, oh, I don't need a man. I don't need a man. Yeah, you could say you don't need a man, but I want one. And I want one around. I want my children to grow up in that environment.
That's right. That family dynamic that doesn't include Big Ma, and me, and no man.
Right. And we all know my grandmother. She is the most mannish woman you gonna find. She will put up a ceiling fan. She will put down a carpet. She would do all these things. So we didn't need a man around because we just called Grandma. Hey, Grandma, I need my light fixture fixed. I need a carpet done. You know, she's done all those things. It will make you feel like you don't need a man, but I always knew I wanted a male around my children when I have kids.
Be careful of what we think a role of a man is, because the role of a man is not to fix things in the house.
Right.
He's to be a part of the family as well. There's things that he's going to need from us as his family, like we need things from him, but it's not to, you know, fix the dresser, because I could fix the dresser, but you know, there's things I can't do for myself that the man in the family can do, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? There's men who are wonderful cooks. You know, he can do that for the family, but that doesn't change the role of the woman to him, the wife to him. You know, yeah, we could do all those things, but that doesn't mean a man is not needed in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like I totally agree with you too.
I mean, two together walking and being one is way better than, you know, just one person. Now, single moms doing their thing, listen, hey, we going to always do it. You wouldn't believe all the stuff I have to go through and do now. I'm going to do it because I have to do it. But if I had a choice, I'd rather a little help. You know, it takes the load off of just one person. Even if it was a single dad in the home, he would like to help to do the kids here. And it's just a relationship between a man and woman, period. When a man and woman come together, I'm telling you, and we walking on the same path, ain't no stopping us.
Right. It's very true. When I tell you the dynamic between a man and a woman in the home or on one accord, because, you know, things do happen, like, you know, sometimes there are separations, but when the parents are on one accord and your mother and your father are there for you and there for each other, no matter the situation, there's a different thought process in you as a person. As you grow up, you understand love in a different way. You understand hardship and disappointment in a different way, because you know that at the end of the day, they're still going to be there and they're going to work it out with you. And so my outlook on marriage, on relationship, is still, it is because my mother and my father's relationship. They were married for 15 years or something like that. But by the time she had passed away, they were a strong couple and they built a strong union and they had a child. There's sometimes right now when I hear things that my mother said to me and they are sufficient for me as a 35-year-old woman right now. You know, so it was necessary, and because she had a strong a mother and a father in the home, and all those things, like there's outlooks in life that your children will have if you are a strong unit. And I also wanted to say, for what you said with the anxiety, we were talking about breaking cycles, and I do believe that you're breaking the cycle with the relationship that you have with your husband now. You are working on your relationship with your children and with each other as individual people, and it's going to make such a huge difference in your kid's life. That's an awesome thing. You don't realize, you know, when you're going through how this is going to pan out. Right.
I feel like sometimes that, you know, we got to stop looking at what was before us, because I think sometimes where, like, if I would have looked at my mom and my grandmother, I would say, I don't need a man because they do it by themselves. But I feel like we got to understand sometimes this is a different generation, and us as being how we are, we don't want to go through nothing. We go through a little tip. It's done. I'm over. I gotta go. You know, and that's not what they did. If we want to pay attention to what they did back in the day, they hung in there. But I know me. I know I didn't want to just stick and stay just because of the sake of the years. So we got to recognize that in different generations, things happen differently. And your story is not your parents' story. Your parents' story is not your story. So you can implement those valuable things in your relationship, but ultimately your relationship with whomever is going to be your relationship. It's not. It won't be the same, because a lot of times, listen, my mother wouldn't tolerate this, or no, your life is different, and you have to learn how to understand that you are setting an example for your children. How you live your life, you don't always have to say, well, what would my parents do, or what would this person do? So I try to learn, because a lot of ladies that I saw growing up was very strong women, and they didn't have to depend on a man. So I could have took that mentality and said, oh, neither do I. But I always know I want a man around there. One man around there for many things. Right. And that's a whole nother conversation. But I know that I just don't want to stick and stay in anything if, you're not truly happy on the inside, So, and when you're in a relationship, getting married so young, you're evolving. He's evolving. You're evolving. And listen, when we come together and we're getting older, we don't know what to come out of it. But,
I do go back to my father is very good at, my father's from a nomadic culture, so they are very good storytellers. So my father always tells me about how him and my mother met, and the courting process or the dating process that they had. They met, and 6 months later they were married. But when my father finally said it to her, like, excuse me, I don't know what you think we doing, but we getting married. And she was like, I'm sorry, I've only known you for about 4 or 5 months. What happens if we get divorced? And he's like, then we get divorced. If it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. That doesn't mean that, you prolong doing it. It's true. You never know how it's going to turn out, especially when you're young, because you made a point of you guys were young. Yeah, you never know how it turns out, but, you put your best foot forward and you move on from there. My other question is, can you go back to the scripture that you were telling me about?
That it was good that I was afflicted. It was so necessary for all the anxiety pains that I had to go through, all the nights being in the bed, didn't want to do this, didn't want to do that. It was so necessary because I had to know who is the one that's going to pull me out. And it's definitely not in man. Man will fail us every time, but God's love will always remain the same. I mean, he does it over and over and over again, and he always lets you know that I'm right here. I could not believe that God would be in the bottom with you. I was like, it looks so disgusting in here. It's so dirty. It's so this. It's so that. But God is right there. So always after everything went through, and it was this storm that came on, and basically it's saying that he was there all the time. Even in your darkest place, God is still there with you. And a lot of times you need to grow and go to the top and take your time, and so you can see who's the one who's orchestrating all this. It's making you a better you. It's like the pressure of a diamond.
Right.
It don't start off beautiful. It starts as that black coal, but it takes pressure. And let me tell you, Shawona had pressure on her. I was still a little cheap with a little pressure. I didn't look like what I went through. That's the thing. That's another gift of God. Some people, when you see them, you go, oh, Lord, you could tell life has hit them. I didn't feel like it was good that I was afflicted, but it most certainly was. I had to go through on my own to figure out who Shawona was all over again, because I lost myself. Getting married young, having children. I have 3 children. I'm only 34. I've been married for over 13 years. It's a lot. So I lost myself. I didn't know who Shawona was outside. Like when I meet with, my friends, all I'm talking about is the kids and the husband, because I didn't have another type of outlook or anything else, because that was my life, my kids and my husband. But fast forward now, honey, we could talk about many things because Shawona has found her.
Right, and that's the most important thing too. We have to realize ourselves, spend time with ourselves, and spend time with our pain, and spend time with what we need to heal it. We all have a personal relationship with our own pain. I'm not big on asking people, hey, how do I fix my pain? They don't know. We all have a personal relationship on how to heal our own pain. And that's the most important. We all can get the same cut, but our scabs is going to come at a different time. Our healing process is a little different. Yours might take 2 days.
Right.
Mine might take a week. It's all depending on how we work on the inside. When you are going through, that thing can hurt. And you want somebody to pick you up, kiss that boo-boo, and make it all better. But there's some boo-boos that somebody can kiss it, and it make it sting even worse. Don't touch it. I can't. Oh, God. And that's those boo-boos, those pains that have to be cleaned up from the inside out, have to be healed from the inside out. Nobody can do it but the inside out, you know.
That's right. I agree.
Awesome. What are you looking forward to in your future?
I am looking forward to just keep thriving. Putting myself first. But I'm just looking forward to being better and doing more for others. Like, I feel like I've done so much, been on platforms to help other people, but I want to do more. I want to, those things that's in my secret stash that I haven't told anybody about that I want to do, but a little fearful to do, and, oh, it's not going to succeed because it's this. It's my passion. I feel like I need to bring those things out. My oldest is 17 now. She'll be going off to college next year. So it's time for Shawona. My kids, like, you know, they don't really like this new Shawona. You know, I'm not cooking tonight. Y'all figure it out yourselves. You know, because I'm trying to really put a lot of energy in who I am. I'll be 35 in 10 days. And I want to soar. I want to do what God has me here to do. I don't want to be fearful in doing it. I'm just excited for the different platforms that I'm going to be on, sharing my story, the different women and men, because before I thought that, you know, I only geared towards women or young girls. But now going through the pain and trauma, I have stories and things to relate to the guys as well. I can be the woman voice to come and tell you, hey, listen, when you decide to do X, Y, and Z, this is how we feel, and it's not good, and blah, blah, blah. So I'm excited for just moving forward and working on trying to find a career instead of just a job. Yeah, I have a lot of things that I'm looking forward to, and I'm pretty excited.
That's awesome. I do want to say that, you know, just knowing you from the beginning of this of your marriage, knowing you from then until now, there is a shift that, you know, even I think if I saw you on an everyday basis and we talked on an everyday basis about it, I would see it less. So seeing it from the outside, you know, I'm seeing such a swift shift in your life and even your lifestyle that it just makes me so happy for you. It makes me proud of you as an individual. Things picking up for you in a way that, you know, I don't think that you even knew was going to happen like that.
Right. So true. Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm happy for you. When you look at it, all you can say is, wow. We talk about only God can bring you through and things like that, but there is something in an individual. And a lot of people like to talk about, you know, I have the freedom, I have my rights to do, but there is something so true about that. It's something individual. You have to choose. You have to choose to heal. You have to choose to grow. And that does not feel good. There are times when you're growing, your flower is out of the dirt, and, you know, you're getting sufficient sunlight and water, you're pretty. You know, and people are admiring you. But when you're under that dirt and you pushing to get up off on top of that dirt, and you know, you feel suffocated sometimes, and you feel like, I don't understand what's going on. It's been weeks, it's been days, I haven't had a breakthrough. You have to continue to choose to still grow. That's the tough part. That's the part where we feel like, hey, somebody come get me. Somebody come pick me up out this dirt. But if they come pick you up out this dirt, you're going to start growing. You're going to stop.
Iyanla Vanzant, she said something so plain, but it's the truth. She says you have to do your work. She didn't say do the work. She said do your work. So you have to work on doing the things that you, because me saying change your focus may work for me, but it may not work for you. You may need to go to counseling. You may need to do other things. That's your work. You have to continue doing Shawona's work, Monina's work, whoever the individual is. You have to put your name in that sentence and say, I must do my name work. You have to do it because nobody can do it for you. And I relied on my husband for a lot of things, and I didn't realize how much I relied on him until he was no longer in the same household due to him working in an opposite state. So I really understand those words. You have to do your work. Nobody can do it for you. You could kind of wing it for a long time. You could kind of wing it.
You can wing it for most of your life. And a lot of people...
Yes.
A lot of people give you advice according to how they've winged it for most of their life. And then when you come out of that, you like, I can't do nothing with what you're saying. I love you, but I can't do nothing. God bless you. But I can't do nothing with what you're saying. That takes me nowhere.
Right.
I'm sorry. You know?
Right.
It's true.
That's like grandma prayers. Grandma prayers kept folks alive for a long time. Remember the old grandmas going to church and they prayed for their loved one? It kept us alive for a long time. Now grandma's prayers, they're living, but if you ain't doing your work, it's not going to apply. Right. And whatever you believe in, because I hate to kind of like generalize it, whatever your higher power is, you need to believe in something other than you.
Yeah, your dreams and your goals can be bigger than what you have going on right now. And if you don't put work to them, it ain't happening.
Yes.
With our goals and our desires, we can dream them, we can put them up on our vision board, but if we don't put action to those, they'll just be up on the board. They'll just be a dream, and that's what that is.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So what's been different since you started doing the podcast? Like you said, it's giving you so much joy and stuff. How has it been? Like give details. Like how has it been since you started doing the podcast? How you been feeling? What's something that you feel like you could improve on? Like how do you been feeling since you started the podcast? Because you've been cooking for a while.
This has been a long time coming, and I still have a relationship with disappointment. I'm not a person who gets overly excited in the midst of things. I feel pleased, though, and I feel glad that I began it, and I know that I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm the worker ant, so I got the leaf up on my back. I'm going to get back to I'm going to get back to the kingdom. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's why I am with it. Like, all right, I got this. I'm going to get this back to the kingdom, even though it's bigger than me, it's heavier than me. Some things might come, a drop of water might hit the leaf and make it even heavier, but I'm going to get back to the kingdom. So that's how I feel about the podcast. I'm excited about what's to come. I'm more excited about things that I haven't gotten to yet, you know, than when it's happening. When it's happening, I'm like, oh, yeah, I knew that. You know, so that's how I feel about the podcast. I'm ready, and I know it's going to be important to the people who hear it. That's what I built this for. And when I made my first YouTube video, I was like, this is stupid. I feel stupid. What am I doing? I'm talking to the camera. Who is going to watch me? And whoever watches me is going to be like, who is this girl? You know, this doesn't
I love the YouTube videos, though. I was looking forward to it.
It doesn't
I was waiting for my tutorial to makeup, because, you know, I need a tutorial on the makeup. I was like, what's she going to do the makeup one? I love the YouTube videos, though.
I know.
I love it.
I made a video one day, and I was like, I don't even know how to do makeup, but Shawona asked me, how you doing smoky eye? I'm on
because you explains it all the time. Okay, just doing my makeup for my wedding, doing my makeup in Jamaica. Come on now.
Oh, Lord. What? Yes. So, you know, yes, but there's a video that I made, and it talked about me. It talked about the experience of losing my twins at 18 weeks and 6 days, and I posted it, and I lost my twins in 2011, and to this day, I still get messages on that video like, thank you for sharing. I just lost my baby last week. I just lost my baby yesterday. And I feel the same way. I feel like my body failed me. I feel like I don't know what to do from here. I feel like I'm in pain, and nobody understands. I feel like people are telling me I'm going to have a baby one day, and I don't like the way that feels when they say that to me. You know, as if my baby mattered. You know, my baby was my baby to me. And so those are the things that make the biggest difference. When I see that, that's like, oh, thank you, Lord. See that comment, and I pray for them, you know, and I'll answer them back and say, you know, hey, 10 years later, I'm okay. You will be okay, you know.
Yes, something about when you look back. When you look back on those days when you weren't okay and look and see who you are. Now, even as far as in my weight loss, I looked at a picture of me. I'm always critiquing myself. And everybody's like, you look good, you this. And I'm like, yeah, but I can do this a little bit more.
You're fine, girl. You're fine. Looking like a bottle of good old wine, okay, girl? Let me tell you something. Ew.
Because you do know, even when I was 300 pounds, I still could drop it and pop it. See, that's what people don't understand. They just think that I just started dropping and popping. We know that I was a big girl on that floor dropping it and popping it.
Hello, okay? Because if I had your
but I
knees
realized
between you and Meg the Stallion, if I had y'all knees, they wouldn't be able to get me.
because the knees still work.
Okay?
The knees
the
still
Lord
work.
knows what he's doing with whom he's doing it with, okay? Because if I had them knees, girl, they'd be in trouble.
It'll be over. It'll be over.
On the
Stay off the
outside,
floor. Would you
okay?
stop dropping it? Yes.
I said I'm gonna make you a homebody, and your knees ain't gonna be good. It's gonna be for good for you though.
I looked at a picture recently, and I saw how I looked then, and now I'm like, girl, you did your thing. Give yourself credit, and that's what we don't do. We don't give ourselves credit for the process that we've done so far. Look at all the pain and all the stuff that we've been through. We made it through, whether if it was just one step. You made it to that one step. As long as you keep moving, you're winning. You're not just standing. So just standing there complaining and doing this is one thing, but you can, today going to be a better day. You walk forward. Today this and that. And you're just saying it, but you're moving. You don't have to move with a pace. As long as you're applying action and you're doing something, give yourself credit for the one step that you took, because a lot of people couldn't even take that one step.
I want to know, what's something encouraging you can tell a person who's in the midst right now?
You're not alone. There are so many women and men that have gone through this situation, and overall is you're not going to die in this situation. You're going to make it out. It's going to seem strange when you start to try to do your work. It's going to seem strange. It's going to seem funny. It's going to hurt. You're going to cry, but you're going to make it. You're going to push through. It's maybe stormy outside, but as long as the foundation is set correctly, you're going to stand. Comment on the podcast. We will chat. We will get the numbers. We will get together and work with you ladies or gents to form some type of circle to keep each other accountable, because it doesn't start or stop with just one phone call or one listen to the podcast. You're going to make it out, and when you make it out, you're going to appreciate the sacrifice, because you're going to be able to tell somebody else just like I'm telling you all today.
All right. So, you guys, this is the Aspire Big, Inspire Bigger podcast. I want to thank Shawona for joining us. Are there any things that you want to let people know that you are a part of right now?
Not at the moment. I'm trying to work on doing different things as far as weight loss, like the Zumba, and trying to do things as far as with my girl chat and things like that.
Shawona is being cute. Listen, let me tell you, okay? Shawona is a certified Zumba instructor, okay? Don't get her twisted. Zumba with Shawona on Zoom. I'm not playing with these friends out here. Y'all, you just keep on. I'm so happy you did the podcast. Yeah, I ain't going to be the only one, okay?
I like that.
Shawona is part of a great women's group called Love on Me. They have a Facebook page. I'm going to link everything below.
I am. Subrena Beckles is the head of it, and we just encourage women. My girl power, I have, teen ministry. I'm telling you, what God has for me and everyone else, just watch out. Because Shawona get ready to knock them socks off. You hear me?
So that's what's up. And then also me and Shawona are part of a trio, Girl Chat Visions. Come together and we do events so far we've done events for women. We're
going to bring them in. Don't worry about it, because we got blasted for that.
I can't have nothing to yourself. I can't have nothing to myself. Nothing. I got to give you an event too, sir.
Yes, we got to do something for the men.
This is fun. This is my vision for my podcast. I don't want it to be just about me speaking. I want it to be able to speak to people who have an expertise on something and who understand who they are and what they are. And I want to just spread the Aspire Big, Inspire Bigger motto to the world. I'm glad we can sit and talk. Thank you, Shawona. Thank you.
Yes, I'm super, super proud of you. Keep moving, keep pushing. And I love you, girl.
I love you too.